Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm starting a new reading vlog where I am reading a couple of recommendations from some of my favorite creators on booktube. So the people I will be taking recommendations from and the books I'll be reading for this video is the first one we have Sarah without an H, and she recommended The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. And the second book I got from Rachel from Raven Haired Reader, and she recommended Project Hail Mary. And both of these books are books that I normally wouldn't pick up in my general reading, and both I'm hesitant about for different reasons. For The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, it's because I have read Roshni Chokshi in the past. I've read her YA books, The Star-Touched Queen and A Crown of Wishes, and both of them I didn't really end up liking that much because I feel like her writing is a little bit too purple prose for me. It just is too descriptive, and it's very beautiful, like don't get me wrong, the writing is very beautiful and gorgeous, but it just overall is just, I feel like it's too much for me and too much for my brain to handle. So I'm gonna see if The Last Tale of the Flower Bride kind of follows that, because if it does, I'm probably not gonna like it, but who knows, maybe I'll end up loving it. And then for Project Hail Mary, I don't really pick up sci-fi usually. I don't think I've ever read any sci-fi book, to be honest, except for Red Rising is probably like one of the only sci-fi books that I remember reading, and that was back in like 7th or 8th grade. So it's been a while since I picked up sci-fi, and it's not something I usually go for. So of course I'm gonna be a little hesitant when it's a genre that I don't usually read, but I've heard a lot of really great things about Project Hail Mary, so I'm really excited to pick it up. Anyways, I'll also link both of the channels down below. You should definitely go follow them because I love their videos. But yeah, I will be reading these two books in this video and seeing if I like them. Hopefully I do, because I feel like if someone's recommending a book to you, it's always gonna feel bad when you don't like it. Anyway, so yeah, that's the premise of this video, and I will probably talk to you next when I have started one of the books. I want to start off by saying an apology to Sarah because I feel like I'm not really loving Last Tale of the Flower Bride. So I'm on page 160, and I have been reading this book so slowly, partly because I have just been really busy with school this past week, because unfortunately I am a college student and I do have stuff outside of reading. So yeah, I've been really busy this past week, and just the way that it's written and the plot and the story I'm just struggling with a little bit. And I was afraid because Roshni Chokshi's writing is something that again, as I've said, I don't really have great experience with in the past, and I really wanted this to be different. And honestly, I thought it was going to be when I first started. I was really enjoying it, honestly. I thought the writing was not too flowery, like I still kind of understood what was going on, but as the story has gone on and the book has gone on, I've just been kind of losing my grasp on it, I guess. I don't know, it's just also because I have been busy, so I have been not able to read like long chunks at a time, so I've been like picking it up and putting it down a lot, and I feel like this book is not that great for me to do that because it's not very like plot focused, it's very much character focused. Anyways, since it's very much character focused, and the writing is very flowery, if I put it down, I don't really have a strong desire to pick it up again, just because usually I need like plot to, unless I'm like really enjoying the characters and the story, I need the plot to make me want to come back, because obviously I want to know like what's gonna happen next and just how the story is gonna progress, but I'm not feeling like that at all, and it's not making me want to pick up the book again after I put it down, which has also been making me read it a lot slower than I usually read. So yeah, I was really afraid this was gonna happen, and it's kind of just playing out like how I imagined, where I'm just not liking the book even though I really wanted to. I know Sarah said that she really loved the book and said that it was really good when she was recommending it to me, but I don't know, I just don't think Roshni Chokshi's writing is for me. I just think she focuses, or for me, her books are too focused on the beautiful writing and the prose, and then the plots and characters are a little bit slower, at least for this book, which is something that I usually don't enjoy. So yeah, this book is also really short. Like I was looking, it's literally less than 300 pages, and it's taking me like so long to get through it, so hopefully I'll be able to finish soon. I am leaving tomorrow to go back home to California, because next entire week I have off for spring break, so hopefully I get a lot of reading done during that week. But yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with this book. It is a few days later, but I have finished Last Tale of the Flower Bride on my Kindle, and I gave it 2 stars. I am so sorry to Sarah if you're here somehow and you're listening to this. I apologize for my low rating, but I don't think Rajni Chokchi's writing is for me. Her writing is just too like purple prose for me, and I think the issue for me is that like her purple prose writing sort of bogs down the story for me, and I just lose track of what the actual plot is, and I think it just gets buried beneath all this like beautiful writing. Because don't get me wrong, the writing is absolutely gorgeous. Rajni Chokshi can write a gorgeous sentence, but will I understand what that sentence is saying? Probably not. Maybe I feel like I'm just too dumb for this type of story or writing or something, but I don't know, just Rajni Chokshi's writing in overall. I've tried some of her YA books, and I've tried like one of her adult books. I think just her writing is just a little bit too much for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I like beautiful writing, but I also like that there's not like, it just gets exhausting almost when every sentence is like this beautifully crafted sentence that sounds like it's come from the gods or something. Like, that's what her writing is like for me. Like, it's so beautiful, but like I don't know what's going on and I don't understand what's saying. So yeah, overall, like after reading a few reviews, I think I finally kind of know what the plot of the story is and what it meant to say, which I can kind of get now that I'm looking back at like what I was reading. But like while I was reading it, I was just very confused as to what was going on, and it was not super fun time. So yeah, 2 stars. I am really sad because I really wanted to like this, especially because I heard so many great things about this book and everyone had been talking about it. But I just think this is my time to let her books go, because I just don't think I'm the right person or the right audience for them. But yeah, it's a very gothic story. It's about this man, who's like the only called the bridegroom, and then this woman named Indigo, and kind of Indigo is this like mysterious woman that they get married, and it kind of follows their story, as well as like it's like their story but also interweaved with another women's story, and it kind of shows the mysterious side of who Indigo is, because Indigo is this very like private, like secretive person, and she's constantly telling her husband not to pry into her life and into her past. And obviously the bridegroom is like curious, and then it follows this woman named Azure, or Azul, I don't even know, Azure I think, and she is like becoming friends with this woman Indigo, and it's kind of following their friendship, which is definitely very toxic. Indigo is a very toxic person. She is controlling and manipulative, and at least that's what I got from the story. And it constantly talked about like magical things like the other world, which is like this like fantasy, I guess, world that Indigo and Azure kind of went into. And after reading some reviews, I realized that it's kind of like a magical, like fantastical headspace they went into to kind of escape some of their real life. So I guess the story sounds good when I like see it from far away and like a good review of someone explaining it to me, but when I was reading it, I feel like I just did not get as much as I wanted to out of the story, because the writing was just dragging everything down for me. But yeah, I am really sad about this book because I really wanted to love it. The conclusion of this experience is that I don't think Rajni Chokshi is for me. So I have finally finished Project Hail Mary, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that I did, especially after the kind of flop the last book was. I ended up giving Project Hail Mary 4 stars, so I didn't quite give it the 5 stars that Rachel did. But I still really enjoyed the book, and I thought it was a really wholesome and heartwarming story. So if you didn't know, Project Hail Mary follows this man, and the way the book is written, I feel like it's better to go in without really knowing anything, because he wakes up and he doesn't really know what's going on, and so he's like kind of learning, so you're learning alongside with him, which I feel like is kind of the purpose of the story, so I don't want to tell you too much, other than the fact that it's basically about this man who wakes up on this spaceship and he doesn't know what's going on, and he has to kind of figure out what he's doing there, why he's there, and what he needs to do. And that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I was really skeptical going into this because sci-fi is really not a genre that I really read a lot, and it's something that kind of scares me because I don't know, just books set in space and science just I don't really understand those things. And science really does fascinate me. Like, I'm fascinated by the universe and science and stuff and space in general, but just reading about it, I'm just not smart enough to understand it. And that's one of like the reasons I like put this down 4 stars instead of 5, is that at some points I felt like I was kind of confused because my brain just couldn't compute what was going on, because there was a lot of numbers going on, a lot of math, a lot of science, and just like I feel like my brain couldn't handle or remember any of it. And like, he was explaining it in the book, but for me, I just felt like I wasn't really understanding what was going on, which I feel like is fine because it didn't really detract from my understanding of the story and the concept and the plot. It was just more like stuff because he's a scientist, so he's on a ship and he's trying to figure stuff out, so he starts doing a bunch of experiments, and so there's a lot of science involved and math involved, but he just explains it well. It's just I'm too dumb to understand it sometimes. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed this story. I will just say, without giving too much away, I will literally like give Rocky the entire world. Like, he literally deserves the entire world, and he will forever deserve the entire world, and I will forever be thinking about him for the rest of my life. And the way this book ended was actually kind of different than I was anticipating and expecting, and at first I wasn't sure because I was like, I know something's bad's gonna happen, but is it gonna be a bad ending? Is it gonna be a sad ending? Is it gonna be like a hopeless ending where they're like stuck in space forever? But it was not as bad as that. It was a little bit of a happily ever after kind of, but it was very unexpected, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I did. I ended up really enjoying this book. I have not read The Martian by Andy Weir because I know that's his like biggest book. It got turned into a movie and everything, but I feel like I might pick that up sooner rather than later because I really enjoyed this one, so hopefully that one is also just as good. You do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit into this book. There's a lot of things that just like the main character just kind of figures out pretty quickly. He kind of knows a lot of stuff, I guess, because he's a scientist, and he also figures out so there's like an alien in this book, and he figures out he's not as shocked as I thought he would be, and also he figures out how to communicate with it pretty quickly on. And I know you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit with that kind of stuff, but overall, once I got over that, I just really enjoyed the story and the plot. So yeah, I'm really happy that I enjoyed this book. I'm so glad that I read it, especially because this was on my radar, but I never would have gotten to it as early as I did because sci-fi is just not something I really read or gravitate towards, but I'm really happy that I read this. So yeah, that is it for this video. I have read 2 books now. Why did I almost give you the finger? I read The Last Tale of the Flower Bride for Sarah. I gave that 2 stars. Very sad. And then I read Project Hail Mary for Rachel, and I gave it 4 stars. So we have like a flop, but we also have a win, so I'll consider this whole thing a win. But yeah, if you read any of these books, please let me know, as of course I would love to hear your thoughts. Sarah or Rachel, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your recommendation. I had a really great time reading both of these books, even if I didn't love every single book that I read. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.